Hello everyone, my name is Ekaterina and today we're going to be starting a playthrough of a game called Hercule Poirot, The London Case. I have played the first game, the first cases it was called. It was not something that I was expecting. It was like from the top perspective and it was pretty linear. There was no really puzzles or questions. It was more like narrative story, but nevertheless I enjoyed it. So yeah, now we're gonna play the London case. Yeah, let's go.
Detective Hercule Poirot? Ah, Chief Commissioner. On the contrary, it is a most convenient time. The safe passage of a painting? Tell me everything. If man was meant to travel the oceans in such conditions, he would surely have been given his own fins. A distraction is what one needs. Where is that blasted contact? How is one to prepare for an assignment if one does not have all of the required information? Very well. I shall wait no longer.
Beautiful, isn't she? Pardon, monsieur? The open water. There really is nothing quite like her.
When one suffers from the mal de mer, the beauty, as you say, is rather more a burden.
Forgive me, I just can't imagine being scared of the ocean in this day and age. The potential to see the world is open to even the ordinary man like us.
I can assure you, monsieur, it is not a matter of being scared. And as for ordinary...
I didn't mean to offend, mister.
I am...
Forgive me, madame.
No harm done. Accidents happen. My cigarette case, where is it?
I didn't see.
You thought I wouldn't notice? A young lady traveling alone. An easy target for you, I bet.
I'm sure the young lady would appreciate the help of two handsome strangers.
Sorry. Reading an excellent way to distract oneself from the surrounding ocean. Accompanied with tea, however, I cannot agree with their choice of beverage.
Ah.
An ornate family crest, the line traditionally associated with courage, nobility, and the British. So we are looking for 3 clues. Dated 1855. It's old, but it's in near perfect condition.
Aha.
The mechanism used to open the case. A silver cigarette case adorned with a family crest. I have no reason to go there now. Okay, so the style stayed the same, like from top point of view, which is not my favorite. But yeah, like remember from the first cases, it was pretty linear. Yeah, basically like what you do is talk to the people all the time. I mean, there was no even deduction, I think. I think at least. It's been a while.
Oh.
Well crafted brass telescope for viewing the open sea and stars above.
I didn't drop it on purpose.
The young lady should not be left to gather her own things.
How could a porter be so clumsy? Let's give her a hand.
You are returning home?
I am. But how did you know that?
How do you know I'm returning home? Date? Crimson hairline emblem. There.
Besides your educated accent, the crest that adorns your cigarette case, it is of British origin.
Very observant. It's the crest of my family, and the case belonged to my mother. I take it everywhere with me.
Miss Florence Farquhar, a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
The pleasure is ours.
That looks like everything. Except for my powder case.
Is this what you're looking for?
It is! Thank you, Miss...
Miss Babanin. Anastasia Babanin.
Anastasia. What a beautiful name.
It was my grandmother's.
Well, that's everything now. I can't thank you all enough for your help.
I'd be happy to escort you. Here, I'll take your bag.
Oh, yes. Okay, thank you. Cabin 4. I'll be right behind you. Anastasia, perhaps I can offer you a token of my gratitude in the bar later?
That would be lovely.
And you, Mr...
Detective Hercule Poirot, at your service.
A detective? I was not expecting to meet such a distinguished gentleman on board.
I did not expect to meet someone of Russian descent on a ship between the great city of Antwerp and Dover.
I never mentioned where I was from either.
Striking beauty. accent was not correct.
One did not have to. Anastasia, of Russian origin meaning resurrection.
And here was me thinking I was special.
Your knowledge of my heritage is most impressive.
Wow, her earring is clipping.
And I'll take that as my cue to leave. Good evening.
And her necklace is moving.
It seems it's just us remaining.
I would very much like to hear stories from your homeland. Perhaps you would join me in the restaurant.
As charming as that would be, I'm feeling rather tired. It must be all the sea air.
Then I shall leave you to your slumber. Adieu. As much as I enjoyed the delights of the restaurant, I still found my mind drifting back to Mademoiselle Babagna. She really was quite charming. I have spent the first part of this excursion neglecting my duties. It's time to retrieve my notebook from the safe and begin. The combination was not a difficult one to remember. 1815, the Battle of Waterloo. Et voilà. Time to... One cannot ignore such a blood-curdling scream.
My mother's cigarette case! It's gone! How could somebody do this?
Mademoiselle, I ask that you take a moment to calm.
You're a detective, of course! What luck!
As luck would have it, one of Belgium's finest. Now, I require as many details of the crime as you can offer.
I came to my cabin and began unpacking. I couldn't get the safe working, but the gentleman that helped me with my luggage showed me how it works. Afterwards, I went for a brief walk, and when I returned, the safe was open, and my cigarette case was gone.
We must consider the suspect list. Those who were aware of the cigarette case's existence.
That can only be those who were up on the deck when my luggage spilled. Miss Babagnan, the porter, yourself.
And your helpful stranger.
Yes, of course.
I ask that you gather them for me. And while you are absent, I shall begin my investigation in here, if Mademoiselle permits.
Whatever you need to do to find it.
The theft of the the theft of Mademoiselle's Hercule cigarette case has plagued me for long enough. I must consider everything I know and deduce the true thief. Knew the safe combination. Explore the cabin. Okay. Oh, okay. One must present themselves at their best at all times. The mirror is a little high for my stature, however.
Oh.
If the thief left any signs of accessing the safe, perhaps a fingerprint on the dial will be it. The door remains open and the contents missing. There are no clear or obvious signs that the safe has been tampered with. The thief must have found another way in. I'm apologizing for my voice. I'm was a bit sick and it's still not letting go my voice go. So yeah. Hello.
Oh.
This must have been only obvious. Has only become obvious once the safe was moved. Perhaps the cleaner should reassess their standards.
Mademoiselle, I thought you would be returning with the gentleman also.
The gentleman wanted to speak to the porter alone first.
I was unaware he is also a detective.
He's not a policeman. He works in insurance, I believe.
It appears I shall be spending my time chasing amateur detectives around the ship. Mademoiselle, I would like to start with who had access to the safe combination.
No one. It was in a sealed envelope that was waiting for me when I arrived. I memorized it and threw the paper overboard. 4385. It's really not that difficult to remember.
A similar envelope was waiting for me upon my arrival. The date of the Battle of Waterloo, as I recall. Every safe, although identical, must have a different combination.
After the gentleman helped me with the safe, he left.
If the mysterious gentleman is behind the theft, he went to great lengths to hide his fingerprints, but did little to hide his movements in Mademoiselle Farquhar's cabin. There are many questions that require answers, answers I believe he may hold.
Investigating a theft was one of the last things I expected for my journey to London, but as an officer of the Lloyd, it is my duty to find who could have stolen Mademoiselle Farquhar's cigarette case and why. So we can connect things, dial. No signs.
Hot on the culprit's heels.
Well done, my first deduction. Okay, so there is a deduction, but yeah. Given the state of the safe, I assume the thief simply entered the code and took the content. So on the left corner, like connections we can make, but we can't make any connections at the moment, so we gotta keep exploring. I will be attending in a professional capacity, but I would have very much liked an invite of my own as a souvenir of my time in London. The committee at the Royal Edward Gallery requests the pleasure of the presence of Miss Florence Farquhar to the unveiling of an extraordinary new exhibition from Museus including the Penitent Magdalene. Formal invitation on one side, blank on the other. Wait, how do I? Oh, like this. Okay. Huh. But it's gone. Where did it go?
Mademoiselle Babagnan, I'm sorry we must continue our conversation under these circumstances.
On the contrary, what fantastic luck that you are here. Now I get to see you at work. I'm afraid I've done very little, actually. After we parted ways, I went to my cabin. I had barely unpacked and I was fast asleep on the bed.
Alone?
That is a rather personal question, don't you think, Detective? I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. A poor attempt at a joke. Yes, I was alone.
There is no need to be nervous. And then?
And then I was woken up by Florence's scream. I have never heard something so terrifying.
You have been most helpful, mademoiselle. I shall not take up any more of your time.
It seems that Mademoiselle Farquhar closed not to dine in the restaurant. An article from the London Illustrated News. Oh my god. The changing world is which we live in, and who is permitted to enjoy it, Florence Farquhar. Fine art, theatre and literature, as well as other mediums that are synonymous with the arts, have always been considered a middle and upper class area of enjoyment and pastime. With those that fall outside of that desired audience begins being stunned at the door. Even now, having taken the steps into the 20th century, there are those that continue to exclude the inexperienced and uneducated, the working class that have not had the privilege of seeing the true beauty of a Monet or read the powerful and relevant words of Charles Dickens in their splendor. We now sit at the dawn of the new age, with London continuing to solidify its name as a pioneer, bringing art, music and literature to a modern audience that care more about the contents of the art form in front of them than the contents of their pockets. Okay, all right.
Mademoiselle Farquhar, I shall have your cigarette case returned to you before we reach the English coast.
I hope so, Detective. You caught me, reading my own article.
I must say you raise a very interesting point. Art should have no social boundaries. Creativity is for all to enjoy.
Thank you for saying that. I wish everyone was as open-minded. Yes, I'm really quite excited about it.
You have been invited to a preview at the Royal Edward Gallery. A small world indeed.
Will you be in attendance? It's actually one of the reasons that I have been in Belgium. I was lucky enough to have a sneak peek at some of the pieces on show. I'll also be writing a follow-up article on the success of it. Fingers crossed.
Lucky indeed. I am sure it will be a great success. Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now.
One must be careful with such delicate powder, horrible mess it would cause, although it would come in useful. Makeup remains a mystery to me, but judging by Mademoiselle Farquhar's fashion sense, this must be a popular shade.
Oh.
I am surprised Mademoiselle Farquhar's luggage made it this far without spilling with the amount she packed. The light is catching part of the fingerprint. I do not have the appropriate tools with me, but I'm sure I can find a way to reveal the full print. The scratches must have been made by something sharp. A blade, perhaps. How can I move? Perhaps the powder case I found may be of some use? Some would say it is a rather rudimentary way of taking fingerprints. I say quite genius.
Magnifique! A fingerprint. Now to determine who it belongs to.
You found one, detective? Ah, how exciting! I suppose you'll want to take mine. To rule me out, I mean.
Of course. Whatever you need.
Who could have caused these scratches? So I guess I don't have... Yeah.
You could ask me anything. Am I to be used as your guinea pig?
I would not dare compare you to a guinea pig. Would you be so kind?
The answer is yes, of course. I have nothing to hide.
The thief knew exactly how to keep their identity hidden. Okay. What?
Ah.
Okay. Okay.
Ah.
I'm sorry, but it's just not acceptable, Mark.
I've apologized to the lady.
And that makes everything all right?
It was an accident.
An accident that could have been avoided if you hadn't spent your morning drinking.
Gentlemen, you are behaving like two young boys in the schoolyard. It ends now. Is Mademoiselle Farquhar aware you are acting as her knight in shining armor?
I wouldn't go as far as that. I think perhaps we have got off on the wrong foot. I'm Arthur Hastings.
She requested you to follow her to her cabin, no?
Oh, yes, she did, but I wanted to...
Speak with the porter privately? This was part of your investigation?
Well, I'm not a detective. I was just,
Then perhaps you will answer some questions that are vital to my investigation as a detective.
What can I do for you? It is. Is my employment relevant to Miss Farquhar's missing cigarette case?
I hope you will entertain me for a moment. What would you say the chances of proving a theft in a case such as this one are?
Well, a report from a detective like yourself will certainly help expedite her insurance claim.
As I thought. It had perhaps not crossed her mind before, but being amongst an officer of the law and an insurance man, the idea of insurance fraud may have appeared appealing.
When Florence, Miss Farquhar, told me that something had gone missing from her safe, I thought it must have been the porter.
How so?
I'd rather not say with him standing just there.
It is not I that controls the volume of your voice.
You must have noticed the smell of beer on his breath. I wouldn't put it past a man that drinks on the job to steal.
That is quite the accusation. And if you were correct, you wish to settle the matter with him privately?
I wanted to give him what for, but I suppose I lost my nerve. I'm what some would call a middleman. I oversee the handling of recently sold items and put the buyer in contact with an appropriate insurer.
The mention of insurance initially sparked my attention, but the more he talks of his work, I believe he may be my mysterious contact from Lloyd's of London.
It was your work that took you to Belgium? I can't go into too many details, but I'm actually delivering a rather special piece of art to London. I'm meant to be meeting an official of some sorts that's supposed to be helping me, but no sign of them yet.
And it is confirmed. It concerns me that my supposed trusted colleague has found himself involved in the middle of my investigation. I will continue to withhold my true identity and see how Monsieur Hastings' involvement concludes.
Merci, monsieur. This really is an exciting case. Anything I can do to help Miss Farquhar, please don't hesitate to ask.
Your enthusiasm has been noted.
Okay, we have no reason to go there. So the movement are pretty limited. It's not an open investigation game. So yeah, pretty linear, pretty limited areas.
Perhaps you and I can have a more civilized discussion.
I'll tell you the same as I told your friend. I will not be bullied.
Intimidation is not my forte. What is uncovering the identity of criminals and making sure they are punished to the fullest extent of the law.
And that's me?
That is what I am yet to conclude.
Who said anything about drinking alcohol?
It does not take a detective to identify the distinct odor on one's breath.
Maybe one to calm my nerves. My sea legs aren't here yet, that's all. I was in the cargo hold, cutting something with my knife, and it slipped. No harm done.
I'm not quite sure you understand what that means.
So now I am stupid and a drunk?
Do you have the knife in question on your person now?
I don't. He stole it and won't return it.
Can't turn myself here.
What can I do for you?
A knife.
Oh.
Evidence of blood. There must be Monsieur Allard cut himself. I stand in hell for such a knife. Not sure what else I'm searching for, but I'm just clicking. In hope it's gonna do something. The tip has been dulled, and there appear to be the slightest metallic flakes still clinging. Sailors now leans back with a foldable blade and stained spiked tip. So what?
What a revelation!
No useful fingerprints remain. The thief has been careful to cover their tracks. So now what?
Of course. Whatever you need.
Was cigarette case insured?
Insured? Oh no, why would I have it insured?
Anything of substantial monetary value.
I'll stop you there, Detective. The cigarette case itself is hardly worth 2 pennies, but to me, it's priceless.
Has anyone been alone in your cabin?
Not for a second. At least not with my permission. You probably think this silly, naive woman has left her valuables out, or I've just misplaced them. But I assure you, that is not me.
It had not crossed my mind for even a moment.
Why the porter? Okay. Am I missing something? Yeah, I guess I do. Oh, okay. Look in the condition of the door and its lock. I cannot rule out the drunken attempt to open it.
The evidence suggests something else.
What? Tracks covered. Thief knew none of the suspects knew Florence's safe combinations.
The answer was staring me in the face.
Although the suspect didn't have the code to the safe, there's still the chance that it was cracked open. Safe was cracked.
Order and method. That is the way to solve the problem.
Okay.
Oui, monsieur.
I shall let you return to your...
Okay, so we gotta make a connection.
One step closer to revealing the truth.
Thieves' attempt to fool me and cover the tracks only shows they knew exactly what they were doing. Expert break-in. I can confirm that the porter was nothing more than a scapegoat for the thief. The erratic scratches on the door lock were made to make me believe he was behind the theft.
Voila.
My initial suspicion was the porter may have been the thief is beginning to waver. Would someone go to the length of framing him?
I must consider the suspects I have in front of me. Monsieur Hastings. He is keen to impress Mademoiselle Farquhar, and claims that he was alone in his cabin working since. Mark Allard, the porter. Evidence suggests a rather amateur attempt to break into the safe, which in his intoxicated state would make sense. But it was just a ruse. The safe was opened quite masterfully, leaving only signs of a poorly attempted break-in. Mademoiselle Babagnan, a new friend to Mademoiselle Farquhar, who appeared at a most convenient time. I cannot see a motive besides the obvious value of the cigarette case, but Mademoiselle Farquhar has made it quite clear the value is of a sentimental nature. Perhaps the best thing for me would be to return to my cabin to think. I fear my legs, and perhaps even my evening meal, will not last much longer amidst these waves. Perhaps...
Ah, detective. How goes the investigation?
A good detective, better yet, a great detective, will find motive, means, and opportunity.
She found it! Miss Babagnan found it! Oh, thank heavens!
I was on my way to speak with the captain when I saw something shining underneath one of those pipes.
Strange that it was not spotted earlier by any one of us while on the ship's deck.
Maybe the thief was scared and dumped it for fear of being caught red-handed.
Miss Babagnan, Anastasia, you've saved the day. I can't thank you enough.
And you, of course, Detective.
I find Mademoiselle Babagnan's explanation of finding the cigarette case rather coincidental. But without any definitive proof, I cannot suggest anything otherwise. The cigarette case has been returned and the coast is in sight, which is what is important. Although, there still remains a part of me that craves the truth.
I suppose you can chalk that up as a victory.
A victory for Mademoiselle Farquhar, but not in the eyes of the law.
Well, if anyone asks, I'll confirm what a splendid job you did.
Very kind, monsieur. While we are on the matter of truth, Monsieur Arthur Hastings, you are here to oversee the transportation of the penitent Magdalene painting, are you not?
How on earth?
You are aware of my employment, but not of my true identity. Detective Hercule Poirot.
Wait, are you the official that I was supposed to have met on board?
Oui, monsieur. Please, accept my apologies for keeping my true identity hidden. But I had to be sure your involvement with the theft was purely coincidental. When it comes to the nature of our work, trust must be earned.
A little unorthodox, but I suppose I understand. So you can trust me now?
It continues to grow.
Well, we have a couple of weeks before the gala, so hopefully by then you'll trust me with your life.
One can hope.